International Expeditions presents Exploration and Adventure in the Galapagos Islands. I'd now like to turn it over to our presenters.
Good evening, everyone. One of our presenters, unfortunately, was not able to be with us tonight because of some flight changes, but we were able to get with him today for him to record a short message for you. So we're going to play that for you now.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bolly Sanchez, your Galapagos expedition leader. I was supposed to be with you in the webinar tonight, and I'm very sorry I'm not going to be able to be there. My flight going back to Ecuador got complicated, and the connection got complicated, so I'll be at the airport in Panama when you're enjoying our webinar. But we have wonderful people with many years of experience like John and Tara, and they'll be the ones guiding you to the webinar and telling you all about the wonders of the Galapagos. You're lucky because you have people with many years of experience running Galapagos trips, and actually not only running trips, they've been to the Galapagos several times, so they know more than enough to share with you about this wonderful place. But I hope to see you in the Galapagos in the next few months or next year or sometime. You and your families and neighbors, bring the whole neighborhood to the Galapagos.
Thank you for that, Bolly. We appreciate him taking the time to be with us tonight, even if it wasn't in person. My name is Tara Ellison, and I am the Director of Operations here at International Expeditions. I started my career here in 2000, working on my 16th year. I've been to several of our destinations, and I just recently completed my 5th trip to Ecuador, where I got to enjoy the beautiful Galapagos Islands. When I'm not working and traveling, I enjoy being a mother, grandmother, gardening, yard work with my husband, and reading science fiction novels. Tonight I'm also going to be presenting with a fellow co-staff member here, John Hayes, and I'm going to turn it over to him now.
Thank you, Tara, very much. Good evening, everybody. It was a nice message from Bolly, who's a wonderful person and expedition leader. But we're excited to be here to be talking about the Galapagos Islands. And I actually have started working with International Expeditions way back since 1991 and loved it ever since. I've been the opportunity to, go around and to different destinations and see a lot of amazing, wonderful things. And one of the nice things about it is that on what we call our IE experience, that you will see it here among other ones as well. But this, in particular, is a great place to go. That everything is different. But when I'm not traveling, I actually like spending time with the family and friends, and you can most of the time catch me outdoors with the dogs, hiking someplace or camping. And one of the things I guess you'd call a hobby is geocaching. If any of you are familiar with that, they started this nice little thing where they hide a little container out someplace, log the GPS coordinates up. You take your phone or GPS device and you go find it. It's like a scavenger hunt. One of the cool things about it is it always takes you to unique places, and you can find out about the history, see things, places you never even thought about, even in your backyard. One of the coolest things, and it was exciting for me because I do that so much, is that the Galapagos Islands actually has some geocaches there. So I took the opportunity to be there to snag some and log those on it as a find. But so if you ever want to talk about that, let me know.
Thanks, John. This is a great story. I'm so glad you got to geocache there because I know it's such a big, important part of your life, and I love hearing your stories about it. So
yeah.
Glad you could be there. So just a little bit about International Expeditions. We have been in business for 36 years now, bringing you nature travel, natural history travel. We have a strong commitment to conservation and ecotourism in all of the destinations that we visit. We pride ourselves on giving you an authentic, immersive experience and are able to help you learn without actually realizing that you're learning. The world is a classroom after all, so we help you get into the right places so that you can increase your knowledge, which is a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, and one of the things that is that to iterate on that is that just an introducing example is Foley with the knowledgeable expedition leaders. You know, I often tell people, I think having a great naturalist person, local thing, is 50%, if not more, of just the experience you're going to have there. So we actually do a lot of, behind-the-scenes work on making sure we have really great guides. I mean, I know people say that, but that is very important and does tend to lead to the overall immersion that you're going to get.
Absolutely, John. Good point. Yes. So a little bit about some of that conservation. International Expeditions is a member of IGTOA, which is the International Galapagos Tour Operation Association. And some of the things that IGTOA is involved in is that they are a major funding provider for the Charles Darwin Foundation. They also help fund WildAid's effort at keeping invasive species off the islands, and they also help to bring mainland Ecuador children to the Galapagos, something that they might not get to experience if they didn't have that extra funding. And it's great because then they learn about their culture and what a gem they have there in the islands, and they are then ready to help protect it and preserve it for the future of the world as well.
It says one of our staff workers was a board member or something involved with that?
That's correct. Emily Harley is on the board for IGTOA, and that's a good point, John.
Yeah, we work closely with them.
So now we'll talk a little bit about Galapagos. Galapagos is many things. It's compelling wildlife, prehistoric marine iguanas, giant tortoises, colorful Sally Lightfoot crabs. You know, John, I think the Lightfoot crabs were my favorite thing to watch as they scuttled across the rocks with the sharp contrast of red and orange.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times it's fun just to try to photograph those things and watching other people trying to catch them to photograph too. Of course, you can't touch any of the animals there.
Absolutely, you cannot. That is true. But the landscapes themselves, too, the different formations of lava against the white sand beaches, and then even some beaches that were black sand, John.
It's a variety. That's what's nice about this. It's going from place to place. You've got the lava volcano kind of beaches, then something more that, we thought we had nice beaches here, but, man, I'm telling you, but just the diversity there is what you're going to experience.
Right, and the activities that you can do in the Galapagos are just amazing. Hiking, zodiac rides, walks, swimming, snorkeling. It's definitely a place for someone who wants to be active.
You are definitely active because, people always ask on the phone, what are we going to be doing? Are we just going to be riding a boat? No, you're out snorkeling, you're hiking, you're climbing the top to see Pinnacle Rock, you're going out to see up in the highlands to see everything. So there's a lot. You need to be in relatively good shape for this trip, and that's something we kind of try to ascertain with people up front. I mean, you don't need to be climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, but it's a terrain that you need to have some sure footing and able to do. But it's very interesting to see everything like that.
Yeah, it sure is. And just, a little few did-you-know facts about the Galapagos here to share with you about the formation of the island. A really interesting thing that I find is that they have the smallest penguins in the world there in the Galapagos, and you wouldn't think penguins would survive so close to the equator.
It's true. I can remember the first time I went to the islands, and I'd heard this, but I just didn't really believe it because it's right there at the equator and stuff. But sure enough, I'm snorkeling along, and zoom, these two penguins come by, jump up out onto the shore, and it was one of those things. We saw it, we stopped. I was actually able to kind of get up a little bit and take a little photo shot with the penguins behind me. So I've got proof that the penguins are there, but it's really interesting to see something that you don't expect there like that.
Right, and these are just some of the things that you'll also learn more about from our expert naturalist guides like Bowley once you're on the ship. Extremely knowledgeable men and women who really love to share their knowledge with you.
Bowley's great. Alex and Christina are usually two of the other naturalists, and it's true. It's like you're in class, but you don't have to take tests, of course. But you're learning, but having fun at the same time. But their knowledge of not just that area, but how it fits into the world and compares to things and affects things, and that whole cycle comes through as well. So they've gone through a lot of training in themselves, and it's one of the benefits you get.
So, John, while you were there, did you get to see a waved albatross take off and fly?
I have seen them in flight and starting to nest, and which was kind of interesting that the albatross goes back. We've had that. It used to be part of our logo even, but there's so many different birds in there. But the albatross, I'm amazed by those just because they stay in flight for so long. If you know much about it, you'll learn about them for how far they fly. It's really amazing. But then to actually be there when you're seeing this animal, this beautiful bird, and it's kind of in their cycle.
Yeah, and they're so graceful in flight. Just a beautiful bird to see in flight. And then hilariously clumsy once they get on land. So I can kind of relate with them there, I believe.
It's true.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about how we can explore the islands. Our boat, the Evolution, is a beautiful boat.
Yeah.
Perfect size, perfect group size, great public spaces so you can enjoy the outside but still have your own private space.
It's great. With the Evolution, the benefit you're getting here of our group size of 32 is that you've got a really great guide ratio, and so that is the ability to do that, and as opposed to, you see people that are, hundreds of people trying to logistically unload and go back and forth, and you just kind of become a number. So it's a great balance, but it's also a nice thing to be able to take the Evolution, which allows you to explore more around the islands, and as opposed to just jumping off and seeing things and coming back. But this ship is really nice.
Absolutely. Beautiful cabins, very spacious. Full-time doctor is on board.
Yeah, the doctor goes out with you at all times and all as well. So that's always securing, because people often think, well, if it's a rough terrain, what happens to me if I fall down and scrape something, or if I get seasick or something? That doctor is there for you. It's great.
It is. And actually, one of the things I enjoyed learning from the doctor was how he had received his education and the things he had to do in Ecuador that were different than the way that doctors receive their education here in the U.S. And I found that even more interesting to learn his culture as well. So I enjoyed that as well. So just a little more about how we explore. You can see there.
Look at those cabins.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful cabins, very comfortable, very spacious, lots of drawers to put things in when you're traveling.
I had more than enough, and I take everything.
Yeah, it is a very comfortable ship. And there's another picture there.
Oh, look at this. This is where, when you come in from snorkeling, let me just interject. The waters are warm, you got wetsuits and stuff, but one of the nice things is you've been out snorkeling, you're getting out of that wetsuit, and you get to jump into the jacuzzi there, which is really nice warm water, and they're going to bring you a little snack to drink. And that right there is where you could just stay and read or relax, but it's a nice little thing to have when you come back in. Yeah. And you can see along the sides there that when you first arrive on the Evolution at the beginning, that's when you get your snorkeling equipment. So you'll pick out your wetsuit, your fins, your mask and stuff, and then that's yours for the week. So you'll actually put them in those bags, and that's where that's yours for this week. If you've got your own mask or something that you want to bring, that's great, but everything is provided for you.
John, I found too that the jacuzzi tub there was a great place to bond with your fellow travelers.
It's true.
Talk about what you saw when you were snorkeling and what you missed because they saw and you weren't in the same place.
Yes, that's true. It kind of debrief each other when we're in there. So it's nice to sit there with a little drink and mix and have some nice little talking about stuff.
Yeah, and there's an overview map of the Galapagos archipelago. It's got more than a dozen major islands and about 40 islets. We have two itinerary options designed to show you the greatest variety of these islands and their environs as possible.
Yeah, that's a good way to see it and kind of get an idea of the relationship to the, the different ones, the oldest to the newest, from what we were talking about earlier with the plate tectonics. Those islands kind of come over that hot spot, and that's where you'll see the newest ones like Isabella and Fernandina. And as that rotates and moves, then the older islands, are wearing away down into the sea. So it's a neat way to see this, and you learn all about that, and more with the guides in your lectures and stuff.
Absolutely. And the Isabella and Fernandina still have quite a few active volcanoes.
Yeah, those are the ones over that hot spot.
Yeah. Which was your favorite island, John? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, it is, man, people ask that. It's so hard. They've all got different ones, but I'm kind of partial to Isabella, but I don't know. That's like saying which one's your favorite kid or your favorite dog or something. They're all just unique in their own way.
I agree. But I do think maybe Espanola was my favorite if I had to pick one. But I love them all. Definitely love them all. And here you can see some of the different landscapes that you'll see from the different islands. Some of the lava flows.
Yeah, this right here.
Amazing, beautiful artwork almost.
Yeah, it is. That's what I thought too. I was taking pictures of this because it was just, it's kind of abstract or something, and you just wanted to capture that moment and stuff. But even on the different terrains, it's like these big, giant lava fields that are frozen there, and they just kind of end at certain spots. So that was fascinating for me. Look at that beach.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous beach. Lots of sea lions there.
Mm-hmm. I think I recognize that one on the left there.
Yeah, John.
I'm kidding.
So, any sea lion stories from you, John?
Well, one of the things I'll tell you about the Galapagos, and I know this will sound kind of cheesy, but it's true. It's a magical place. And I say that because it's unlike anywhere else. The animals are not afraid of you. You have to get out of their way. But this is how you were just this close to these animals. And we had, even in the water like this, and these sea lions are so playful, especially the younger ones. They'll come up and kind of nip at your fins and stuff. But we had this one, this last trip, the sea lion, he came and he was by himself, but he just suddenly started just spinning around right in front of me. And so I was spinning with him, and then we were kind of playing together, and some of the group came over, and he was spinning with them, and we were all spinning around. And so finally, then he dove down below us, and there was a ledge under the coral, and we didn't know, why did he go under that coral? Why? Suddenly, out from the other side came this white-tipped shark. And we're like, whoa! He had gone underneath there, and he come out and was nipping at its fins, chasing that shark out. Then he came up to us as if to say, look what I brought you.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yes. Oh, wow.
And I'm going to stop on this picture for a moment just to say that I was actually in the panga. That the person taking the picture there is Boley, who spoke to you earlier at the presentation. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting on the other side of the panga there while he used his GoPro to film this orca. We were about to go out snorkeling, and this juvenile orca came up, and we were able to get some really great pictures and get close to him. He was feeding in this area. Such a memorable moment. It was just that awe moment of the whole trip, I think, that we were that close to this animal. It
is amazing. That's what I love about this trip, is how close you get to the wildlife. Look at that, a frigate bird.
Oh, yeah, beautiful, majestic bird there.
The male, they love to puff up and show off.
And there's that albatross in flight that we were speaking of earlier.
Right,
just a beautiful bird.
What do we have here?
The famous blue-footed booby.
Yeah, these things are such characters in themselves, but it's amazing how they are, how they have their life cycle, their chicks, and where they're at, but you're literally stepping over them.
You absolutely are.
I love that picture.
So much expression in that Nazca booby face there. Yeah,
that's great.
Some of the other bird life of the area. Unbelievable, beautiful birds. Some of the finches.
Yeah, there's like over 15 different varieties of. These are just some of the finches, but that was kind of one of the things I think Darwin was following along, and how things change, and you can see that. Yeah, and it was really interesting to learn how to identify the finches by the shape of their beaks, which was, something that our guide shared with us as well, which was really fantastic. Mm-hmm. And of course, you can't have a tropical island without a flamingo. I know. I've seen them all over, but it was nice to have them there. There's your Sally Lightfoot.
My Sally Lightfoot, just an amazing picture there with all the bright color against the black lava. Just a beautiful, beautiful crab.
Yeah, nice. Now these guys are my favorite, I think. The marine iguanas. These are, I'm telling you, it's like little dinosaurs everywhere. They are just, you're right there with them. But what I find so fascinating about them, one of the things is that they, because they are iguanas and they're in the salt water environment, they take in that salt, but they get rid of it by squirting out of these glands off the top of their heads. So you can just see them sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really kind of nice, but I love these things.
That was one of the bucket list items we had, was to try to catch a picture of one of the marine iguanas ejecting the salt. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those. Those are good.
There's also the land iguanas, which are beautiful.
You don't see as many of the land iguanas as you do as the marine iguanas, but they are a little bit bigger, but they're nice to see.
I believe that's a lava lizard as well.
Yeah, they're scurrying around.
Oh, and there's the famous.
Oh, my.
The Galapagos giant tortoise.
Yeah.
And you know, John, I was reading an article not long ago that for the first time in a century, babies of the endangered Pinzon giant tortoise have been born in the wild.
Really?
Yeah, it's just amazing.
It's
amazing.
Yeah, I've heard, these things, what it gets me about them is their age alone. Some of these guys are just over 100. I think the last one that we were there, it was like 180 is what the guides were guessing at or something. But and you're just there with them. It's amazing.
Yeah, this picture probably doesn't do it justice. What you need to do is be there in person and stand beside it to see what a massive tortoise this is.
Yeah, they are huge, that's for sure. Okay. Yeah, there was another.
So now we're going to kind of talk about a day in a life where you would start early morning, 7 a.m., say, 7:30. Have a wonderful, fabulous breakfast with your crew on board. Then you're going to go out for a morning excursion. It could be a hike usually. Looks like these people in this picture are headed out for a hike. Then you're going to see some of the fabulous landscapes and different animals of the island. You might have a chance to do a little kayaking. You're going to return to the boat around noon to have a fabulous lunch. Usually they're able to do that on the outside deck, John, which is really nice to have lunch there.
That fresco dinner at lunch, you're right, absolutely.
Yeah, so you can still enjoy your lunch and enjoy the beautiful scenery and the nice breeze. After lunch, they usually have a very common tradition in any South American country is siesta time, which I really enjoy. I think we should incorporate it into our office.
I've been trying to get that for a while.
So a little time to rest after lunch, and some people will enjoy the public areas or the deck, and some will have a little nap in their cabin, but just a little time to rest. And
you need a nap, especially after the lunch, because the food on there, as you can see, the chef and everything is wonderful. And they also will do, nice little displays with the different carvings of the fruits and stuff. But it's such a variety. And just to point out that, a lot of times people do call in, can we handle or arrange for special meals like gluten-free? And we can. Our partners and stuff in there are great at working that out. So don't ever let that be a problem. We can even get you distilled water for CPAP machines. So whatever you need, we can make it happen.
Absolutely. And then in the afternoon, you might have a snorkeling excursion followed by a beach hike. Return to the boat for a nice cocktail at the bar deck. Watch the sunset, which is just amazing over the water and over the islands there. Maybe a little entertainment on the bar deck at night.
I so enjoyed this because these people, the dancers that come in here, or these kids, I call them kids, but they're young people and they're part of a school there, but the talent on that, and they actually make all those skirts themselves, and the scenery on them is such fine detail. And then the guys playing back there on the instruments, I think there's one that's the teacher, it's a parent kind of thing, but there was like a 17-year-old that could play like nothing. I'm still amazed.
Yeah, amazing musician.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Of course, dancing And
yeah, and I'll tell you a little secret about that middle picture there. If you look at the blonde
I see.
in the back with the light blue shirt on, that would be me.
Ah, you're right. There you are.
Then at night, before dinner, we'll enjoy a lecture with our guides to get some more great knowledge out of them, kind of review the day.
Yeah, it's kind of like I was saying earlier, you'll have that debriefing, kind of going over everything, kind of what to expect the next day. So that's something you kind of get on a lot of our trips, but it's kind of a standard thing that we do, and everyone really likes that. So you can go in with, some people like to have, I got my itinerary, I've got all my notes, I want every detail. Or you could be to the other end. If you don't want to take that, you can just go with the flow. They're going to tell you what we're doing. So it's there for everybody.
Absolutely. And then look at that beautiful dinner.
Oh, yeah, the food's so good.
There again on the bottom, you see Boley greeting some of the guests at dinner and talking as well.
Boley is so good at making everybody feel welcome and part of the group. It's truly a delight to work with. And Alex and Christine and the other ones as well.
So we were talking earlier about having two ways to explore the islands. And the first one is our Darwin's Enchanted Isles itinerary.
Right.
So we were going to go over some of the expedition highlights for that.
Yeah.
Hike, kayak, snorkel on a daily naturalist guided excursion. Enjoy the best guest to guide ratio on a small group departure of just 26 to 32 guests.
Yeah.
Climb Bartolome for a famous view of Pinnacle Rock.
Let me tell you, right there at Pinnacle Rock, which is one of the famous ones that you'll see a lot of photographs of. You saw at the beginning of the slideshow, actually. Little secret, that's where one of the geocaches is. It's a virtual geocache, that one, just because it's inside that park area. But that's where I got one. So when you're there, go find it.
Yeah, and you'll also get the chance to see waved albatross on this itinerary, and obviously learn more about the conservation efforts of the Charles Darwin Research Station.
Right.
And then our second itinerary option is the central and remote northern islands.
Yeah, it's nice that we've got different itineraries for you know, you're going to get the same experience as that I call it, on both of these itineraries. They both have something slightly different also as well. For example, on the central and remote island, you know, there's a big colony of redfoot boobies. If you're a big birder, that might be some calling for you. But for everybody, either one of these are going to be excellent itineraries.
Yeah, and the short-eared owl, the only place you can find it in the Galapagos is Hinobesa Island.
That's right.
So this is a great itinerary for someone who's really, really into birds as well. And you're still going to get those same great activities, still snorkel, still kayak, still hike, and get that great guest-to-guide ratio as well.
Right.
So now let's talk about some pricing, John. I'm going to let you talk about that.
Sure. No, we've actually, you know, of course, all of our pricing and stuff is located on our website at www.ietravel.com. But for, you know, 2016-27, for double occupancy, it starts off from $59.98. We have some single ratings. We have part fees of $120. Your in-country airfare, which is usually your flights from Guayaquil out to the islands, $575.
Yeah, I do apologize. That flight went a little faster than I expected.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I was trying to get it in. But, you know, and also, if you'll check the website, we often will have our some special discounts. Sometimes it might be, you know, for select departures or whatnot. But if you want to check those, or you can always, you know, give us a call, and, you know, I can go over anything with you, but keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and then, you know, there's also the option of seeing a little more of Ecuador or South America or Peru while you're there. You know, Machu Picchu and Cusco is just an iconic place. You're so close from there. It's just a short flight over to Peru, and such a great extension to add on to your time there on the boat as well.
It really is. I love when people do the Machu Picchu extension in Cusco, because it's such, you know, contrast of culture, region, on that and whatnot. But if you've got the time, you know, how often are you going to be back down there? You know, go do it if you can. You know, Tara and I have both been up there. It in itself is, you see it on all the channels and the shows and stuff, but to experience and immerse yourself in it personally is phenomenal. So
Absolutely. And another option that's kind of new to us is the Ecuadorian Amazon.
I did the Ecuadorian Amazon just last October, and speaking of contrast, again, it's kind of a different thing. You're getting this Amazon, so it's the jungle, it's the hot, sweaty, but you're seeing all these unique animals and the village along the river and the communities, the women projects. It's a different part of the history of Ecuador that you see there. So pairing that, being able to do that with the Galapagos, were just completely different.
Yeah, and it's a great option to do that too by boat, because we do that on the Anaconda, which is a beautiful boat as well.
It's a beautiful boat. The Anaconda and the staff there are superb. The food, the chef is pretty well known, but they have local naturalist guides as well. I like that. What I like about that is they also have flexibility, and if you want to do this or just spend a little more kayaking or something, they are very good about working with whatever you want. But it's a good thing. But this extension, this is beautiful. The Ketone Andes.
Absolutely.
Look at the colors on her, the hats. Everything is popping out.
I think Quito may be one of my favorite cities.
I might agree with you because it's different. You're up in the mountains. There's all the sights and sounds and bouncing around. I mean, I
completely encircled by volcanoes. It's a beautiful, beautiful city.
Yeah, as you're driving around, your guides are like, "That's a volcano right over there," and you're just okay. But just you see a lot of the Spanish culture from the past as well. That's mixing in. But to me, and they've got nice places to stay there. I love where we're staying. But this in the market, the Otavalo market, this whole, a lot of people like to do this. It's hard to choose from these extensions, I'm telling you.
It is. And it's always nice to come in a day early just to rest and relax, and you can do that with us by doing our Guayaquil extension.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the beautiful things the things I tell people a lot of times is to come in early. And just on any trip, it's good, as Tara's saying, to kind of come in and relax. But it's really important on the Galapagos Voyage Islands because you want to be there in time. You don't want to be delayed by airline mishaps or mechanical problems. You need to be there to catch those flights to the islands. So come in early. The whole idea of these type of trips is to be stress-free and just to go along. So it's beautiful, even if you come in for an extra night, but to take a little extra time for an extension. That way you're there, you are already in the moment when everybody else is coming in. But a lot of people take these extensions, especially the pre. I always push them to do that.
Absolutely. And I love Guayaquil. I actually got to spend some time in Guayaquil in December with Foley exploring around the city, and it's just a beautiful city, especially at night. That picture there is from Santa Ana Hill, and what a beautiful, beautiful place it was to see that at sunset and then see the lights come on. I'm
going to tell you, I picked up a couple of geocaches in Guayaquil as well.
Really?
There's one right in there's also Guayaquil and in Puerto Ora out on the islands. But look at that.
And there's also custom travel that we do to the Galapagos. You can, if you want to have a smaller group with you and maybe just take your family, grandparents, sometimes like to take their grandkids. We have this wonderful private Galapagos villa. I believe it's a maximum of 14 people there.
Yes, that's correct.
You get your private butler and your private guide there, and you do day trips out, and that's located there in Puerto Ora. And Kim Goose is our custom travel planner here, and she does a fantastic job of getting that booked for you.
Kim is very knowledgeable of this area and handles custom arrangements, and knows everything and anything about getting this done. So if you are looking at something more customized, or even if it's a date that we may not have, a voyage going, this would be a good option.
Absolutely. And there's a picture of that Otavalo market you were talking about.
Oh, the Otavalo, right. Yes. I just had a lady decide to add the Otavalo market that was already going, and she had read a little bit more about it and called me today to say, I want to add that on.
So, also for those families that would like to take the Evolution on their own, we also offer charter packages for the Evolution where you can have the whole ship to yourself, bring your friends and family. maybe celebrate a special birthday or a special anniversary.
Right.
It's a beautiful place to be able to share with your family, with your children, your grandchildren, sure, nieces and nephews. And we also can do land-based Galapagos tours, so you can stay in lodges there on the islands and do day trips from there as well.
Look at that picture.
Yeah, wonderful picture there.
Yeah.
And, you know, we always like to hear from our guests, and as we say, our guests always say it best. And there's just a few little comments here that we received back from some recent travelers.
It's true. A lot of times people do. I'm proud that we get these kind of comments back, and I get excited, and I know what the experience is going to be for people going down there. And sometimes people are like, "Yeah, that's nice, John. You work there." I'm like, "No, don't. Okay, so don't listen to me. Listen to our people that have been there." So it is really nice to have this for people to see it on request. But people love it, and we have a lot of return guests coming back just for that IE experience.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in reading some of those reviews, you can certainly do that again from our website at www.ietravel.com. So feel free to take a look at those and see what some of the people are saying who have recently returned from the Galapagos.
Right, and we also have other medias. We have a blog and our website, the Facebook site as well. But
absolutely.
Yeah, we're out there.
Absolutely. And so now, John and I both hope that you're ready to join us in the Galapagos Islands.
Oh, you need to. This is they say trip of a lifetime, but I guarantee you it is.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's exactly what we try to help you do, is discover your true nature. So what is your nature? And if you want to request a copy of our travel planner, that you can do that there from that web link there, ietravel.com/catalog-request.
Yeah, or give me a call. Our office, we're all happy to help you. My extension is 27133, and I can get you a catalog, or we can go over looking at dates, any questions you might have.
Yep, and I think now that we've kind of been through the presentations, I think we're going to get some questions that maybe some of you have presented while we were reminiscing about our lovely time in the Galapagos.
I kind of got lost in that. So, yeah, I love talking about Galapagos. So let's take on some questions.
Okay, good, you guys. We've got lots of good questions here, so let me jump right into those. I think you addressed this, but I just wanted to reconfirm. Can you drink the water in the hotel and on the boat?
I would not drink the water on the hotel and on the boat out of the taps. The boat does provide you with potable water that you can take your own water bottle and refill. That is very safe. And if you feel the need to, that you would rather have bottled water, that option is available as well. But we do encourage you to take your refillable container to cut down on waste products there in the Galapagos.
Yeah, and not to worry about that. They will tell you it's probably okay, but for drinking or brushing your teeth, it's like Joe says, the bottled water is, better to do. Showering, no problem, but drinking, go with the bottle.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We have several people who are interested in scuba diving. Can you tell us if scuba diving is an option?
You can actually scuba dive. There is a day on each itinerary that you can arrange to scuba dive, and we actually do that through Boley, our guide that's there, and he will assist you in doing that. You would miss part of the scheduled activities. So if it was important to you to make sure that you get the full itinerary, you could also maybe go down early and scuba dive, or maybe stay later for one of those customs options that we were talking about. But it is possible during the itinerary if that's something you're very interested in.
They do arrange that, and they will provide all of the equipment for you as well. And I know that with the company, usually it's, I think they take minimum of 4, but that's why the good thing about it is that with it going through, there's maybe other people on another ship. So even if 1 or 2 of you are interested in it, we could still look into making it happen.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, I had people on my last trip that went scuba diving, and they had a great time.
Great.
Okay. Is diving extra? There's an extra cost for diving?
It is. There is an extra cost for scuba diving.
Okay. And is there an age requirement? Do you need to come certified and be of a certain age?
Certified, yes. The age, I don't know exactly the age for the diving, but I know our trip itself, is 7, but I would have to look into finding out from Boley, I guess, if there's an age cutoff.
Okay. And one last question about diving, and then we'll move on. But there was a question about when the best time would be to visit if you are a diver. And I might have you expand into just best, when is the rainy season, when is the high wind season, and so forth. So I'll let you piggyback off of that.
Well, I'll say there's probably not a bad time to visit the Galapagos Islands. There are seasonal times depending on what you want to see. So obviously some of the birds do migrate. So if there's a specific species that you're wanting to see, then it's great to make sure that you're there during the time that they are there or at the time that they are nesting, etc.
Yeah, usually it's like you said, this is one of those places similar to the Amazon where it's a good time to go. But in our, I guess, quote-unquote rainy season, which that can be misleading and meaning that you're going to have showers, and it's not. But that's probably a little better time because when the water may be a little clearer and stuff for diving, but really any time can be good to go. So I'm sorry, I had that backwards. It's December through May is kind of better for snorkeling and diving.
Yeah, and December through June is usually more of the rainy season.
Yeah.
The dry season's more July through January. And then you can also take into consideration the water temperature, the surface water temperatures. It doesn't vary a lot, and that's because of the Humboldt current coming through. So the water is always a little chilly, which is why we also provide the shorty wetsuits for you so that you're more comfortable while you are snorkeling. So December to May is the warmer water temperatures, and June to November is the cooler.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And a little bit more, a question expanding on the weather. Has the El Nino hurt the marine life or the iguana population?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a cycle that goes through, all the time. It's something that we watch and expect and see. And in some years, as you know, it can be worse with more effects. And so we were definitely keeping an eye on it. And that was one of the things I was looking at when I was down there last, just how many animals you might be seeing. And, there were some, for lack of a better terming, there were some carcasses from sea lions and even iguanas and whatnot. Not a lot, but what I was watching more, just because I knew of that, was kind of the reaction from our guests on the trip. And it actually gave an opportunity to have a discussion about that, and they learned a little more about that whole cycle from our guides and whatnot. So yes, that will be seen, but it's no more than the natural environment that's going on.
Okay. We got a question here about kayaking. Can you kayak at Kicker Rock going between the two rocks?
No, that's another thing that's very controlled by the Galapagos National Park, are the areas that you're able to hike, snorkel, swim, and kayak. And Kicker Rock is not an area where you would be able to kayak.
Yeah, keeping it on that, to protect the island, the ecosystem, and everything near the parks, for good reason, do manage, and we have to go by those rules, and everybody does. So that's why there are certain things we just cannot do.
Right, and the kayaking is going to be more in the protective code as well.
Okay, thank you. Now, is it possible to combine these itineraries?
Absolutely. You can book them back to back without any problem and see the entire lineup.
You can do both of them and see all the glory that the Galapagos Islands has. So absolutely.
That's great. So I just have a couple more questions about the experience in the Galapagos, and then I have a couple of extension questions for you. But going back to the diving, knowing that there are so many wonderful islands to choose from, if you were a diver, would you find some islands better than others for diving? And I guess that we could expand that to include snorkeling as well.
Sure. I think the snorkeling is pretty fantastic at every site that we snorkel at, honestly. You might see a different species here or there, but just abundant. When I was snorkeling, I know by Fernandina, what I was amazed about was the amount of sea turtles that I saw. Just they were everywhere I looked, and you would think you were looking down maybe at a rock and it would move. It was a sea turtle. So just amazing amounts there. And then closer in one of the places that we snorkeled at near Bartolome, Pinnacle Rock, I saw a lot of sharks.
Oh, yeah.
So that was really neat too. So great experiences everywhere that we snorkel. I personally haven't dived, so I can't say a lot about that. I know that the outlying islands, such as Hinavesa, are more popular for the divers. Probably because I think that's where you're going to see more of the more exotic items you're looking for, like hammerhead sharks and things like that. But even diving in the closer islands in the central part of the archipelago is going to be fantastic as well. And, if someone's really interested in some in-depth diving, we can get you more information. If, you'll just get in contact with us tomorrow, we can get you in touch with Foley, who has dived there and can give you a lot more information about that.
He would definitely know this answer, and that's one of the beauties of there is that when he arranges the diving, he knows where the good spots are. So he's being there and being in it, he is very well aware of that.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, last question about the cruise itself, and then we'll move on. What type of kayaks do you use? Are they ocean or sit on top or conventional kayaks?
Well, I would say the conventional kind of kayak. It's not like you're in the the Olympics or something, but they are you sit up, you have your paddles. It's easy to sit there kind of on top. It's not with a skirt or anything covering you, which is fun if you want to go two people or if you want to go one. Sometimes the sea lion might jump up on there with you and try to help.
Yeah, I've seen that happen for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds fun. Okay, so moving on to Machu Picchu. There was a question here about how challenging it is to climb in Machu Picchu.
It can be challenging, but it doesn't have to be, because we're such a small group there that you can kind of go at your own pace with your guide and just kind of take the things in at your own.
Yeah, the thing about Machu Picchu in the pace is that you're at such a higher elevation, but one of the nice things, the benefit about our itinerary is that when you come in to Cusco, we're going to go ahead and take you down in the valley at a lower altitude so you can have more time to acclimate. So you mainly can tell a difference just because it's thinner air, but that's like Tara's saying, they know that you're not from there, so you are going to need a little extra time to go. But our groups are really great about that, of being able to have the opportunity to be with everybody and go back into the ruins on your own even. So it's really a good pace.
Okay, good. Thank you. And then there was just a question here about whether you ever are able to arrange extensions to Bolivia.
Absolutely. Kim Guth has absolutely delivered some Bolivia extensions, and she would be happy to help anyone with that.
Okay, good. Well, I think we're down to our last question here, and it is about what sort of space is available over the holidays. Do you have space available over the Christmas, New Year time period?
Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull out my handy-dandy allocation chart, and I can tell you.
Thank you. And while you're doing that, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, I know over this year's Christmas holiday, if we have any space, it's pretty tight. People sometimes cancel, but it may. I'm sure. I don't know, Terry. If we've got one or two. Or
yeah,
left
we've got one or two left, and that's about it for this year. And in fact, 2017 is already selling out as well. So if you are really interested in getting there over the Christmas holidays, then give us a call and let's see what we can work out.
Yeah, the sooner the later, especially with the Christmas holidays, like we're seeing, if you absolutely need it. I get calls all the time from agents, from people. I try not to. It's just been booked so far. I hate that I can't get them on the voyage, but look at 2017 if we can't get you. If that's your set time, we've got other departures, maybe a little less. Or I know that sometimes with kids out for the holidays, that's kind of your time frame. But yeah, it's hard sometimes with space on the Christmas holidays.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Well, thank you both. So I will wrap it up then with question and answer. I want to give each of you some time for closing comments, so I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone who took time to join us tonight and showed interest in our Galapagos program. It is a fantastic trip. I hope that you will consider joining us there, and just take a look at there on our www.ietravel.com. And if Galapagos, if you've decided it's not your thing, then we have lots of other things to choose from. So just give us a call. John is actually one of our sales agents, so he would be ready to take your call and would be a fantastic help in helping you plan your next adventure.
Yeah, I'm going to, with Tara, thank you all for joining us. We really do like doing these webinars and just kind of touching base with people. To me, it's good to hear someone talk about it that's been there and can maybe answer some little nuanced questions and stuff. But it's a privilege to be able to talk to you tonight. The Galapagos, like I said earlier, it's an amazing, magical place. It's one of the places, my favorite places on the planet. But we can get you there, and with the knowledge, if you'll give us a call, my extension is 27133. I can help you get there. Thank you very much for listening in tonight.
And thank you, Lee, for helping us work through all the technical
and as always,
making this possible for our potential clients to hear about our program.
That's right. Give me a call. I'll tell you where the geocaches are.
And with that, we will say good evening and conclude our webinar. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.